Good morning, welcome. Is this how I do this? I've forgotten.
You're supposed to reflect on that.
Welcome to United Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Reverend David Kraemer, minister at this church. Welcome everyone. If you are visiting or a guest today, I want to extend a special welcome, and please join us for coffee and conversation afterwards. It's so great to be back. I have been on sabbatical for 2 months, and it has been a very eventful time. I want to say a deep thank you to this congregation for allowing me this time and this reflection. I will say this, I think many times in the next few months, but I have found that a sabbatical, far from being a break from ministry, has been a much deeper dive into it. And I hope that I can share some of that in the next few months. So helping with today's service are Geoff Blankenmeyer, Alex Chilsen, and Aaron Hurwitz with our sound and video. A couple of things to lift up. I understand that Team Reindeer of the cleaning team will gather to finish the decorating and trim this tree after the service. And so if you are inclined to help do a little decorating, please hang around and stay. The Christmas Clearing Council deadline to bring gifts or money is today. So Ellen Poplowski in green is the person to see for that. Circle suppers are regathering now after a couple of years of pandemic. Sandy Zingler is organizing. Circle suppers are a way for congregants to meet in each other's homes and share a meal and some conversation. Sandy is the person to see if you are interested in connecting in that way. This week, on Wednesday at 6:30, I'll be presenting a kind of a travelogue version of my trip on the Camino de Santiago. We will be talking about this. I will use this, I'm sure, in the weeks and months ahead. But on Wednesday, I want to present some slides and tell you where I have been. So it will be at 6:30 here in the sanctuary. We do have renters who are using the building right now. If you do not know, there is a theater group that is using the downstairs on several nights a week. They will be here also on this Wednesday. They know about our presentation and have indicated they will probably park on the street. Just so you know, there will be extra traffic, and so parking could be a little bit of an issue on Wednesday. But we will all be here, and really great to have the building in use, and I'm looking forward to everybody. I'm looking forward to being able to show you where I've been and what I've been up to. Meg Whaley has an announcement she would like to make.
So I was not good enough to get this into the newsletter right away, but we are having a solstice service on the 18th. And instead of doing it in the morning, there will be no morning service. It's going to be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we're going to do a potluck afterwards. Okay, do not panic. You are doing nothing about it. Okay? You have nothing to do with it. Don't panic. Okay, yes. So I'm going to make a turkey, and everybody can just bring whatever they want, a dish to pass. And we'll have dinner together afterwards downstairs. And I think it will be a really nice way to celebrate solstice. So that will be in the newsletter as well, and we'll get it in Tuesday Post and other things that Alyssa does so lovely. So thank you.
And a couple other things. I do want to say that Alyssa Watson is back with us now, too. So we're welcoming her back. And I want to extend a really big thank you to Sam Silver for filling in over these last 2 months. He's done a fantastic job. And so thank you. Thank you, everybody. The caring team, the buildings and grounds team, the board, everybody has stepped up and I know has done fantastic work. And so thank you. Thank you so much. Now, please center yourselves for worship as Geoff calls us in.
Look, if you will, at that dot. That is here. That is home. That is us. Everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who has ever lived out their lives on that dot. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on that mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam, which didn't show up too well. Sorry. Okay, the earth is a very small stage in the vast wonder that is the cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that in glory and triumph they become momentary masters of a fraction of that dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequently their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our self-imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by that point of pale blue light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from anywhere else to save us from ourselves. The earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit, yes. Settle, not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Please join in words that we share each week in lighting our chalice. May this flame kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Here together we scatter and nurture seeds of spirit, service, and community. And now, this is the season of Advent. I'm not sure if we lit an Advent calendar last Sunday, which would have been the first Sunday of Advent, but we will light two today. One will be the first candle, which is the candle of hope, and today's candle is the candle of peace. And now take a few moments to greet one another. Let's sing together. Hymn number 1008, it's up on here on the wall. When our heart is in a holy place, please rise in body or spirit.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, when we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, when we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please be seated. So I chose our story today after knowing that Geoff was going to be sharing those words from Carl Sagan at the beginning of the service. A star is how you know it's almost night. As soon as you see one, there's another and another. And the dark that comes doesn't feel so dark. What if you could have a star? They shine like little silver eggs you could gather in a basket. Except, you can't. Not really. But you can draw a star on shiny paper and cut around it, and then you can put it in your pocket. Having a star in your pocket is like having your best rock in your pocket, but different. Because a star is different from a rock. Pin a star on your shirt and you can be a sheriff. Put a star on a stick and you've made a wand. If you hold a wand in the right way, you might see a wish come true. Not always, only sometimes. You never know about a wish. You can give a star to a friend, but never give away the one that you keep in your pocket. You need to know that it's there. Some days you feel shiny as a star if you've done something important. People may call you a star. But some days you don't feel shiny. Those days, it's good to reach for the one in your pocket. If you ever lose your star, you can draw another, or you can find one. There are places. Moss, where you might see fairies, is made of green stars. White stars in June grass become strawberries in July. Yellow stars on pumpkin vines become October pumpkins. Snowflakes are stars. Got ahead of myself. Blow a ball of dandelions and you blow 1,000 stars into the sky. A little button can have a star on it, and if you always brush your teeth, someone might give you a red or a green or a blue or a gold or a silver star. There might be a star on the calendar to mark a special day, but stars that come with night, for those you have to wait for the night. You need some dark to see them. And it may help to have on pajamas. Then you look up. Almost always you will find one, and another, and another, and another. And sometimes if you can't see them, they're still there. Everywhere. That's my story. So I think that, do we have children who are heading off to, they've already gone. Do we want to sing them? We'll skip that part. There we go. Shift gears a little. Please join me in a few moments of silent meditation, reflection, prayer. It is good to be here. It is good to be together here, sharing stories, sharing our lives. This is the fabric that makes up the quilt around this tiny blue dot. This is what holds us together. We're aware that today is the first annual Christmas parade following last year's tragedy. I know that this congregation mourned, grieved, and reflected on the anniversary of the tragedy. Today, too, will be another day for reflection, but also, we hope, for celebration, for community. This is a special place, a sacred place. Let us join together in the holy here, and as always, be grateful for the gift of human community in this good earth. Blessed be. Each week we share in our lives joys and sorrows, milestones in our individual paths. If you have something to share, I would invite you to come up. Please tell us your name, what's on your mind. Take a stone from the bowl, hold it in your hand, and when you are finished, place it in the bowl with the water, and let the ripples carry your concerns out to the wider community.
Okay, I am Geoff, and for my joy, I'd like to share some words from one of our senators for a deed that has been done the past week. Today, an overwhelming majority of senators stepped up to protect the freedoms and rights of millions of Americans in same-sex and interracial marriage. I am proud to have worked across the aisle to get the job done for millions of loving couples in Wisconsin and across the country. Millions of same-sex and interracial couples made this moment possible by living openly for their authentic selves, changing the hearts and minds of the people around them. This legislation will protect the hard-fought progress we've made on marriage equality, and I look forward to the Respect for Marriage Act becoming law of the land. And I will place 2 stones in the bowl for those couples who will be benefiting from this act.
I'm Ellen, and my older sister Jill was diagnosed with cancer a couple of years ago. So earlier this week, she had another good review. So she can move from going to the doctor quarterly to every 6 months. So that's, yeah, good thing.
I'll place one last stone for all those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken but on our hearts and minds. Let's sing together, Walking with You.
Walking with you, walking with you is our prayer.
And for the offering is a sacrament of a free church. It is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation for our shared hopes and values.
Are we ready? Very good.
I am waiting for my case to come up. I am waiting for a Rebirth of Wonder. I am waiting for someone to really discover America and wail, and I am waiting for the discovery of a new symbolic Western frontier. And I am waiting for the American eagle to really spread its wings and straighten up and fly right. And I am waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead. And I am waiting for the war to be fought, which will make the world safe for anarchy. And I am waiting for the final withering away of all governments. And I'm perpetually awaiting the rebirth of wonder.
Our reading today is I Am Waiting by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. First stanza by Geoff. I have the second stanza. I am waiting for the second coming, and I am waiting for a religious revival to sweep through the state of Arizona. And I am waiting for the grapes of wrath to be stored. And I am waiting for them to prove that God is really American. And I am waiting to see God on television, piped onto church altars, if only they can find the right channel to tune in on. And I am waiting for the Last Supper to be served again with a strange new appetizer. And I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder.
I am waiting for my number to be called, and I am waiting for the Salvation Army to take over, and I am waiting for the meek to be blessed and inherit the earth without taxes, and I am waiting for forests and animals to reclaim the earth as theirs, and I am waiting for a way to be devised to destroy all nationalisms without killing anybody, and I am waiting for linnets and planets to fall like rain. And I'm waiting for lovers and weepers. And I'm waiting for my cataracts to go away. to lie down again in a new world of wonder.
I am waiting for the great divide to be crossed. And I am anxiously awaiting for the secret of eternal life to be discovered by an obscure general practitioner. And I am waiting for the storms of life to be over. And I am waiting to set sail for happiness. And I am waiting for a reconstructed Mayflower to reach America with its picture story and TV rights sold in advance to the natives. And I am waiting for the lost music to sound again in the lost continent in a new rebirth of wonder.
I am waiting for the day that maketh all things clear. And I am waiting resolution for what America did to retribution for what America did to Tom Sawyer. And I am waiting for Alice in Wonderland to transmit me to her total dream of innocence. And I am waiting for Childe Roland to come to the final darkest tower. And I am waiting for Aphrodite to grow live arms at the final disarmament conference and a new birth of wonder.
I am waiting to get some intimations of immortality by recollecting my early childhood. And I am waiting for the green mornings to come again. Youth's dumb green fields come back again. And I am waiting for some strains of unpremeditated art to shake my typewriter. And I am waiting to write the great indelible poem. And I am waiting for that long-last careless rapture. And I am perpetually waiting for the fleeting lovers on the Grecian urn to catch each other up at last and embrace. And I am awaiting perpetually and forever a rebirth of wonder.
That's it. I thought so. When you looked at me, it's like, oh my God, stress, here we go.
It's okay. We waited for it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, who said that?
I Am Waiting was written in 1958, the year that I was born. It's a little dated, but it's one of my favorite poems, and I hope it holds up to time. Lawrence Ferlinghetti lived and worked in San Francisco and was among a group of poets known as the Beats. He co-founded the iconic City Lights bookstore in San Francisco and was a literary luminary and a social activist for decades. He died at age 101, just about 2 years ago. I Am Waiting is a kind of a lamentation, and many of the things he is lamenting are still lamentable today. Allusions abound, mostly to icons of American life, like Grapes of Wrath, the American Eagle. The very first line, I am waiting for my case to come up, is a reference to a trial from just a year before when Ferlinghetti and his partner at City Lights, Shigeyoshi Murao, were arrested on on obscenity charges for offering a paperback copy of Allen Ginsberg's poem Howl, which also is a lamentation on American life and avarice and the madness of society. Poets and literary critics and all kinds of figures, literary figures, testified at the trial. Howl was found to not be obscene, and Ferlinghetti and Morau were exonerated. That paved the way for other banned books of the time to be published in the United States, including later Chatterley's Lover. I wonder how it would go today if poets and critics and literary figures were to testify in court. Would anyone consider them experts? Could such a renaissance happen again now? So while the Beats were considered countercultural, they were also deeply immersed in the culture and helped shape it. Similar to how social movements today, like Occupy, Me Too, Black Lives Matter, arise within the culture, speak out against ills, and seek to change them. Right away, I Am Waiting shows the kind of irony that the Beats were famous for. I am waiting, the poet says, knowing damn well these things are never going to happen. The question is rhetorical. But then it's not. Then comes the refrain, I am waiting, he says, for a rebirth of wonder. The whole mood of the poem changes in that line. We no longer know the answer. Irony dissolves into innocence. The poet's tired eyes finally find the clarity of youth. All our cleverness, our jadedness, our smarty pants lines belie an underlying need, a need for mystery, for wonder. The contrast is what makes this poem a poem and not simply a tirade, snark and awe. I chose the poem today because our theme for December is wonder, as Geoff pointed out in our call to worship. It seemed obvious, but also because of the title, I Am Waiting. This is a season of Advent in Christian tradition, often characterized by waiting. Waiting for the birth of Jesus in modern understanding, but the Christianity.com website says that's only part of the story. The word Advent, says the author of this article, is derived from the Latin word adventus, meaning coming, which translates to the Greek parousia. Scholars believe that during the 4th and 5th centuries in Spain and in Gaul, Advent was a season of preparation for the baptism of new Christians at the January feast of Epiphany, among other things. During this season of preparation, Christians would spend 40 days in penance and prayer and fasting to prepare for the celebration. Originally, there was little connection between Advent and Christmas. By the 6th century, Roman Christians had tied Advent to the coming of the Christ, but the coming that they had in mind was not Christ's first coming in a manger in Bethlehem, but his second coming in the clouds as the judge of the world. They were waiting, as it were, for their cases to come up. It was not until the Middle Ages that the Advent season explicitly linked to Christ's first coming and Christmas. That evolution is just the celebration of Advent points toward an even broader sense of waiting. Waiting without the trappings of any one particular religious tradition for a rebirth of wonder. Also, in this poem, I am struck by how the more things change, the more they stay the same. We are told over and over in our news feeds and tweets and memes how divided we are as a culture right now. Yet 64 years ago, Ferlinghetti too was waiting for the great divide to be crossed, for someone to prove that God is really an American, for a religious revival to sweep through the state of Arizona. And hey, guess what? A kind of a religious revival, or at least a political one, is sweeping through the state of Arizona. So maybe, just maybe, as I read this poem now, I am thinking about our current context, about how weary we became during the pandemic, how our lives in many ways were put on hold, how we were waiting. Remember early on how we thought if only we could wait till Easter, things would be better by then. And then how we waited and waited in lines that went out the parking lot and down the road to be swabbed and tested. And we waited for a vaccine to be released, and then we waited for our turn to be declared eligible. And we got tired of waiting and moved beyond Advent altogether, which often turned out to be a mistake because the virus waits for no one. But now in this political season, with an election just passed that was supposed to further divide us, but in fact didn't, in fact showed that we are not so far apart, I think that all this snark, all this attitude that we supposedly live with, dissolved a little bit in our earnestness. I am heartened by that, by an indication that my neighbors are just as tired of being triggered by every bumper sticker, Facebook meme as I am. And I wonder, could we actually straighten up and fly right? Our Soul Matters packet this month takes a deeper look beyond politics into theology. And by the way, your Soul Matters packets will be in your inboxes soon. The matters with which theology deals, the purpose of human existence, the nature of ultimate reality, etc., says a book reviewer in the packet, are unknowable mysteries. Accordingly, all of the things that humans have said about such matters over the millennia are just that, human. Theology is and always has been the effort of finite human beings to find orientation and construct meaning in the face of the mystery of life. It is the very fact of our unknowing, our wonder, that defines theology. When we come up with answers, we box in our theology. We box in God. Gordon Kaufman writes, "My piety toward the mystery qua mystery compels me to acknowledge that when we theologize, we come up against the very limits of our language and our minds. We really do not know what we are saying." Also in the Soul Matters packet this month is a suggested activity. Take an awe walk. I am so all about this. An awe walk, says the packet, is a stroll in which you intentionally shift your attention outward rather than inward. So instead of thinking about your to-do list or worrying about a conflict with your coworker, you contemplate the world around you. So, I have just been on an extended awe walk along the coast of Portugal and Spain, as you know. I will tell you that my attention was shifted outward nearly all the time, simply out of necessity. Watching for the signposts, tending to my blistered feet, searching for food, trying to stay dry. All these things left me with little time to fuss about things. Not having a news feed or political signs that made any difference to me at all was a huge blessing all in itself. And then, of course, there was the sea. Always there, always reminding me, always a source of wonder. So do you feel spiritual? My sister asked in an email a couple of days into the walk. I have to say I was taken back by this question. My main spiritual practice over the past 2 or 3 years has become walking. You can call it a walking meditation or just walking. At the limits of language, this has been what has done it for me for some time. My sister knows this. She has walked with me. And now here I am, having ramped up preparation, steeply flown across the ocean and embarked upon a 1,100-year-old pilgrimage. There's very little about this that isn't steeped deeply in spirituality. And there was this question, do you feel spiritual? Thinking about this a bit more, the best answer I can come up with is I always feel spiritual or not. It depends on whether I am paying attention. It is true that I also don't pay attention a lot, but when I do, it doesn't matter so much. Yes, a firmament resplendent with starlight, a surging ocean, pathways trod by ancient pilgrims. All these things do help draw your attention outward. But the spirituality comes in the noticing. Nobody's better at this than Mary Oliver. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood, she writes. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How 2 hands touch, and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. Wonder is reborn in an old poem. It is reborn in turning seasons and starlight and storms. Wonder returns when we return to the questions. It is reborn each time we truly pay attention. Wonder is reborn when we wonder. Blessed be. Let's sing together one more time. What wondrous love. Please remain seated for this one.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was beneath my sorrow's crown, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. Gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will
Once again, it is marvelous to be back. It's good to see all of your faces. Looking so much to the days and weeks ahead. We'll have so much more to share. I have spent a good deal of time reflecting since coming back, and we're going to continue this journey. As we do, following the postlude, please go your separate ways, go in love, seek justice, find peace.
Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. Tennessee, and he was headed for Pennsylvania in some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. A home that knows your joy and laughter filled with memories by the score is a home you're glad to welcome with your heart. From California to New England down to Dixie's sunny shore, from Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays you can't beat home. The holidays you can't beat home. The holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. I couldn't help myself.